In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And always online at lernerandrowe.com.
You guys are hot.
Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
D-backs are going for a 4-game sweep of the Rockies. Right now, the game is underway. No score in the second inning down at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix. Last night, Tommy Henry fired 7 innings of 2-hit ball as the D-backs went on to beat the Rockies 6-0. Welcome in, Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B out here at Twin Peaks in Tempe. It's Thursday. Thursday's always Twin Peaks, as we are always at a different location. They have 5 now, and the newest just opened just about a month and a half ago out in Deer Valley, but we're at the Tempe Marketplace location. We'll be here till 4 o'clock, so we encourage you to come on down. Happy hour starts at 3, goes till 6, and then they do a reverse happy hour beginning at 10. But let's dive right into it. Top stories of the day.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, I think it's got to be the D-backs. They're down 1-0 now in the second inning to the Colorado Rockies as they go for a sweep. As we all know, as you're listening to a sports radio station, D-backs are hot, and they are 10 games over 500. First time they've done that is 2018, late in September of that year, and they are just a pleasure to watch. Fun appointment television each and every night on Valley Sports. It's been a lot of fun to see them. As last night, they took care of business as Tommy Henry, as I mentioned from the top, 7 innings of 2-hit baseball. He struck out 7 in those 7 innings. He's now 3-1 with the win. So they have won 4 in a row, going for 5 today, and 8 of the last 11.
And they've outscored their opponents 22-8 in those 4 victories in a row. The bats are hot. Here they go. They're going to get really hot. So, as you mentioned, Rock, that's the one thing. Tommy Henry, excellent job last night. And Zach Gallen. And I tell you what, this team, they stay hot. They win today. Dodgers play tonight. They could be tied for the National League Western Division against with the Dodgers if they win today, and the Dodgers playing
Look
tonight.
at the smile on Manuch's face.
We haven't seen this.
He's like a Cheshire cat.
He smiles every day. Don't matter what goes on in our world. Manuch is just always happy.
You haven't seen this since 2018. You're like, wow, the D-backs are 25 games out at the beginning of June. If you recollect, Jimmy, you and I and Rock were talking about, well, what's it going to be for June? Is it 10? Hell, it was like 15
I think
games
I picked 15.
Yeah, it was high. But, hey, this is great. I wish a few more folks would show up, but you play the Rockies.
Yeah.
It's not going to get many people out there. But 22-8 outscored these last 4 games their opponents.
Well, it's about 3 weeks ago. The Phoenix Suns and Monty Williams were in the playoffs. Now Monty Williams is heading to Detroit, Motown, as he has signed a very impressive deal, a deal that will make him the highest paid NBA coach of all time. 6 years, just over $78 million. If he hits certain incentives, he'll hit $100 million plus, but a 6-year deal. It's just amazing to me that a guy could get fired and 3 weeks later he gets the biggest contract in NBA history. Plus, he's got the 2 years remaining that he had with the Suns.
Correct.
It's not like football where, they're going to beat you halfway or work on, paying for some of that. But he's a very rich man now, and a guy that was the NBA Coach of the Year, just a year ago.
Jimmy, you I talked about this on Tuesday. He turned down the Pistons.
He did.
And we said, what I said is, well, unless they make him a Godfather offer. Sure enough.
They did.
They came back with the Godfather offer. And it's interesting because if the Suns are negotiating with one Doc Rivers, let's just take him. Doc's looking at this new comp that it's on the marketplace going, okay, $13 million a year. All right, if you want to hire me, time out. This change. If you're going to pay, if you pay Monty Williams $13 a year, that comp's got at least 16, 17 a year. Let's renegotiate or talk. I'm just saying that could be one of those things that he comes back.
And majority of all the NBA coaches combined.
What's my value? $17 million per year?
I just think the money is
market.
stupid.
It is
the
stupid
fact
money.
that he's got $20 million owed to him already by the Phoenix Suns.
Yep.
I was never a fan of this dismissal in the first place. I don't think he was the problem. I think the players are the problems.
Sure.
But maybe there's something to it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But good for him.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed Michigan.
Yeah,
I've been to Detroit lots. They've cleaned that town up. It's pretty decent now.
I think 13 million a year will get you have you acclimate very nicely.
Very
in Detroit.
nicely. It's Tim Kempton on the show yesterday kind of hinted, as I had talked about, something is lurking behind door number 4. There's the 3 guys that we talk about, and Tim, in our conversation, indicated, well, that Kenny Atkinson guy, the assistant coach with the Warriors, I'd love to see him. I just wonder because if it was going to be Kevin Young, wouldn't they have named him? I mean, what are they waiting on if you're going to name Kevin Young? Okay.
Well, it could be the fact that the NBA Finals are underway. You don't want to take away from the hype.
Sure. We thought about that, and so you could have done it before the games begin, or you could do it in between games because they don't play until Sunday.
Sunday.
So you have Friday open. I'm going to stick with this until I'm proven wrong. Something is not right, and I think there's a mystery candidate somewhere.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think that is definitely it. There's going to be somebody that just comes out of nowhere that we didn't know about.
Or somebody that's an assistant coach with either Miami or Denver Nuggets. That could be a possibility too. Just waiting to interview those individuals.
You look at what happened in Houston. They hired 3 former Boston Celtics assistants yesterday.
Yeah.
So just to fill that roster there. So that'd be interesting to see how that all pans out. And the Celtics are going to stay with Missoula, which is good to see. The guy led to finish second in amount of wins in the season, and won a bunch of games, but
guys, and he
lost the big one.
When they lost those 3 in a row, he stood up. He took the bullet. He did for that locker room, man.
34-year-old.
Yeah.
Youngest guy in the league.
He's like, my bad. I got to get these guys ready. Obviously, we're not at the point where we can compete. He totally stood up in front of everybody in that locker room and took the bullet. And I'm glad that those guys recognize that. The Jason Tatums of the world, those leaders, smart, said, you know what? He basically stood up for us because of how much we pretty much were slacking in these first 3 games. I commend him for that. 34-year-old guy doing that, standing up, big cojones to do something like that, and they recognize that.
Everybody has to remember that the coach can only do so much. He doesn't shoot it. He doesn't rebound it. He doesn't dribble it. He doesn't make a turnover. All he can do is coach the guys that are on the floor. And I think a lot of times what happens, particularly in the NBA, is fans don't put the onus on the players. Well, the coach has got to go. No, players sucked. They stunk up the joint on their home court. Isn't this a similar conversation that we had just a month ago?
About Monty?
About Monty? The players sucked in that game.
Yeah. He's always stood up for them.
Yes, but the Suns sucked in that game. Well, the same situation happened in Boston. The players stunk it up.
Phoenix City Council voted in favor of the Suns Mercury's All-Star bids, as they are expected to bid for the 2024 WNBA All-Star Game and the NBA All-Star Game in either 2025 or 2026, which I think could happen. I think we are due. It's been a few years since we've had one. And they're always, what a great place to be in February for an All-Star game.
I would love to have seen an NHL All-Star game here several years ago when that
strike
hit. Yeah, and hopefully that might be a delay until they can find a new home, new arena, new facility.
That's a given.
Hopefully.
The Cards continue their organized team activities today. It's the second week of OTAs, which will wrap
3 minutes.
Tomorrow. Then they'll hold a third and final set of OTAs next week before the mandatory 3-day minicamp is the following week.
They say Buda Baker's supposed to be supposedly at the mandatory minicamp.
Well, I think he indicated on Twitter that he was going to show up.
And, that's a good sign. I think it's good faith in his part to say, look, if we're going to renegotiate and hold his guns, it's good that he shows up to be part of that. Now, whether he comes back to regular camp or not after this mandatory minicamp, I think they've got one more after this. And whether they haven't got anything settled, does he show up while they hopefully extend him, or does he not? I think that's the next step with Buda Baker in his camp.
So those are your top stories today, which are brought to you by the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. Your home for all Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, the NHL playoffs, all of that. It's there. Great place to kind of get ready for your draft because we are just less than 100 days from the start of the NFL season. So it'll be here before you know it on June 1st. But they got all the big screens there in the CAZ Sports Bar, which is part of the sports book, the food, the drink specials, all there. And it's the home of the Roc and Manuch Lager by Huss. So check it out. 46 4K flat screen televisions and the service kiosks there in sports book. Had my annual today.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Gonna be with us for
Right
a while.
here.
I think so, man. Down
Okay.
8
Good
pounds
for you.
year to year.
You look
So
great.
that was good. And the A1Ds and all that other
Yeah.
crap is all good. So it's always a good deal. But she didn't even do the prostate this year because my prostate numbers, my blood work was so strong.
Did you hear it?
30 years now, so you kind of look forward to it.
You're aging well for an old guy, Rock.
Yeah,
You're looking
She
good.
did, my doc, Manuch, you know her well, did mention that we got a little carried away on that poop segment a few weeks ago.
That was awful.
She's a long-time listener. She's only called into the show one time when we were doing a show from a cigar bar, and she kind of went on and said that she did not approve us being at a cigar bar, but she said everything's okay in moderation.
Well, that was coming directly from the poop doctor, Doc. So
She did not agree with it. Manuch. She didn't know who your doctor was.
He was.
So she did not agree with the poop doc wherever you got that information.
He was sitting
Because
next to my dog.
I've been checking it
You've been
out,
researching that?
and I have not seen any poop that has kind of not sank to the bottom of the
Yeah,
hole.
well, I could vouch. That's for me. It's wrong, but because I've been
Coming
healthy.
up, the spread. It's interesting. The spread is seeing a spread, I should say, greater than 2 possessions is a lot for an NBA game, let alone one between two teams that have earned their way to the finals of the NBA. Tonight, Denver is favored by 9. You will hear from both sides next in our Valley Chevy Dealers Sounds of the Night, and we'll take you back to some of the sound last night if we have some time from the D-backs win over the Rockies. Thanks for joining us today. We're out here at Twin Peaks in Tempe. Roc and Manuch, JVB here on Fox Sports 910.
Local
You guys are hot.
Set up a test drive by heading to valleychevy.com. Now today's top plays on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
So NBA Finals set tip-off tonight, 5:30. Nuggets and Heat, Game 1 at Ball Arena. Nuggets are making their first appearance in the finals after sweeping the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. Heat are set to make their second appearance in the last 4 years after they get by Boston in 7 to win the East. They're going to go head-to-head. But the Miami Heat are big underdogs in this first game by 9. And here's Jokic yesterday talking about there are no favorites in the NBA Finals.
Who said that we are favorites? The media? And Las Vegas told us that we were underdog before. It's not correct, I think. I think we are not the favorites. I think in the finals there is no favorites. This is going to be the hardest game of our life, and we know that, and we are prepared for that. We are preparing and prepare for that. So I think there is no favorites, and definitely I think we are not favorites in this series. I think they are not either. I think it's just a finals. There is no favorites in finals. My opinion.
Jokic, no favorites.
I think that the Nuggets are doing everything they can to dispel that. Vegas, all the pundits, everybody is making them the favorites.
Aren't they supposed to do that though? If they walked in and said, "Hey, we're going to blow these guys out in 4,"
we get it. We get it. It's
what they do.
It's very obvious. I almost feel like saying, like they also like Lou Holtz. Savannah State, they got the best defense we've ever played against, and they're going to be the hardest opponent we've had the last 20 years here at Notre Dame. I think it's just kind of obvious what they're trying to do. It is. It just keeps them grounded as far as
and motivated.
Yeah, and not to read the press clippings. You have to ignore. I call it ignore that noise.
Here's Coach Malone says it's going to be the hardest challenge that any of us have ever faced in our NBA careers.
And that's the one thing that motivates every one of us, is that we have yet to win a championship. And that's why we're excited to be here, but know that we have a ton of work to do. And it's going to be the hardest challenge that any of us have faced in our NBA careers.
Well, obviously. I get that because it is. They've never gone to the finals before, and they have an opportunity to win a championship, which has never been done before in Denver. So I understand that aspect of the motivation.
And have it almost, they have like a month off.
Yes,
between games.
Yeah,
it felt like that. How they come out look in the first half, maybe knock the rust off in the first quarter before they get their game. But again, it's going to be that NBA title town, so to speak, to try to do everything you can to win this thing.
On the flip side, here's Coach Spoelstra asked about games 1 and 2 in Denver.
We're not even getting into any of that stuff. Our guys are in great shape. They're ready to compete. Denver wants to tip this thing off at the top of Everest. We'll do that. This thing is going to be decided between the 4 lines. They also got to come back to Miami if we want to make it about that. We'll turn off the air conditioning. They got to play in 90-degree humidity.
So the conditions of Mile High Stadium and all the above are kind of in his grill a little bit about
Ball Arena.
Yeah, Ball Arena. The Suns look like they were gassed in the couple of games that they were there. And I think that when a coach brings something up like that, it's like, my gosh, can they maintain the pace in that altitude? Can they do this? And can Denver go there and play in that heat and humidity of Miami? So, hey, it's in their grill when somebody's mentioned that, especially your head coach.
I can say this about being in Denver and playing at that altitude. It's different. And players understand that. And what people will say now, well, the Heat flew there right after the game, and so they've been there now for a couple of days. They'll adjust. It doesn't happen in a couple of days. The Suns did that too. Exactly.
They tried to acclimate, and they lost by 95.
Doesn't work like
that. Give or
that.
take a few.
Yes.
they tried to get in there, and they run a little bit, scrimmage a little bit. Hey, when that Denver Nugget team gets on a roll up there, it's tough. You can hang, but eventually you better have a good bench and watch your minutes. And as far as the thing, I'll be curious to how Spoelstra handles his bench as far as rotating those guys in.
I'm just shocked that the majority of people that are commenting on this series don't give Denver the credit how good they really are as a unit. This is a very, very good basketball team led by a center who may be the best player on the planet today.
Well, every show I've watched has said this is one of the most talented teams.
They are talented.
So I haven't heard anybody downplay the Nuggets' talent whatsoever. I haven't heard that.
It's amazing to me, though, that this is what we are hearing is the altitude. Miami's going to be tired because they went 7 games.
For Miami.
For Miami.
Not for Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for Denver, I don't get watching some of the national shows why they are not indicating how good this Denver team really is.
And then finally, here is Jimmy Butler.
Where's the Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy now?
I will my dad. Yeah, I gave it to him. I don't need it.
You know, I'll be facetious, but that's starting to get some momentum.
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, there it is. Those are our 3 minutes. East Valley Tribune, our
Valley
Chevy sounds of the night.
Jimmy B, I love his attitude with this whole thing.
Yes.
We're not going to cow down to anybody, no matter what people say. -9. So I think that you watch this Heat team, and even Eric Spoelstra, I think really feels, okay, we're going to throw a lot of stuff at you because he is the king of adjustments. You look at how well he's been coaching for seems like forever. And I think that with this team, as far as their defense, when they come at you, and then there's the momentum. They might be a little tired today or maybe feel a little bit up there at Mile High, but I think they're the ones that have been playing last 2 weeks while this Denver Nuggets team has been on the shelf.
All right, so Manuch, you as a player, would you rather have 9 days off or just have a couple of days
2
off
minutes.
and get right back in it?
Something to be said about getting right back in it because you had momentum. And for us, playing a wild card game, we had 2 weeks off because we won the division.
Okay.
The AFC East.
All right.
Yeah, it was nice to have that, but I got to tell you what, it took us a good quarter and a half. We didn't quite have the same continuity in the game that we had when we won our last game against San Francisco. We held that going, so all of a sudden you put your car in park, and then you got to get it back up. Where the other teams, you play against the Chargers who had the week off. Some of those teams, like the Raiders, they had the wild card. They're bang, 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 bang. They kept that continuity and ended up winning the AFC conference title and up beating Roc's Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl.
First team to be a wild card team.
But for the sport that you consider the most physical sport of all sports, I would think the 2 weeks would be very beneficial.
For football?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I mean, you guys need that extra time.
1 minute.
For that one game a week. Whereas hockey plays every 2-3 days.
If you here in the National Football, if you just make the playoff, you're jacked. You don't get to play the next day.
Then you would have answered it. Then you would have answered, let's play right away. You said the 2 weeks off was good for that one wild card game that you guys played.
I always felt none of us guys like the time off. Yeah, it's always good to heal, whatever. I like to just keep going and keep going and keep going from the continuity's sake.
Hey, with the NBA Finals starting tonight, with the Heat and the Nuggets, the matchup is far less appealing to the bettors than it would have been Lakers, Celtics, plus tickets in less demand as well. We're going to catch up with the sports professor. Rick Horrow will join us next from somewhere in the United States here on Fox Sports 910 and on FM at 99.9 HD2.
Time to talk about the business side of sports. Leading expert in the business of sports. Author of the new bestseller, The Sport Business Handbook. Host of Power of Sports and architect of over 100 deals worth billions in sports.
You guys are hot.
The sports professor, Rick Horrow, joins Roc and Manuch on Fox Sports 910.
Welcome back, everybody. We continue on here, Twin Peaks in Tempe, having a great time. And the professor is joining us right now. That is indeed Rick Horrow. And Rick, I'll start first. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B today. And I'll start first with just your thoughts about what this NBA Finals is going to mean to the television network, which is ABC, ESPN. Are they truly unhappy with the matchup that they got?
Oh, I don't care about that. What are you nuts? I live in South Florida. Listen, 30 years of toiling in the field. We finally got back-to-back next Wednesday, Friday, basketball, Thursday, Saturday, basketball. And look, I started the Sports Authority in 1981. It took till 1988 to get the arena done. We cobbled together a small amount of federal money for a renovation of the neighborhood. We had a local team of people that didn't want to step up for a franchise. Ted Everson, the cruise magnate, finally said, "Yeah, let's do it." He thought it would be $24 million. David Stern said 32.5. We were in a meeting in '88. He left the office, came back about 10 minutes later, and said, "Yeah, you know what? It's an outrageous price. But if I want to buy a franchise, I went over to the other side of the street to try to buy the NBA franchises where they sold them there, but they don't do that. You do it." So it's a deal. And the Heat was born. That's what happened there. And 3 championship titles later, then the Panthers, same arena started, Wayne Huizing at $50 million. And then they went to another arena, a lot of different names, BB&T, Office Depot. Name doesn't matter. Now, 2 A seeds ran into the playoffs at the last minute, parallel tracks, blew everybody away, and now they play an hour apart in South Florida. It is absolutely incredible. And I don't give a goddamn what people watch on TV.
Wow. Fired up back there.
I can tell, Florida boy.
Hey, Rick.
How's that?
That was
good.
good.
You like that?
Yeah.
As you talk about franchises and Denver and the Denver Nuggets, entering this year, they were estimated franchise value was 1.93, which was $1 million, which is 22nd in the NBA. If they win the title, how much of an increase do you think that brings to a franchise, especially one that's never won it before?
Well, that's the only kind of thing that they needed, because their market is great. It's a mid to higher market. Corporations are a lot there. Ball Arena, controlled by the Anschutz, family, who owns the Nuggets too. So everything's set for success with them, except they've just never been there before. So I think they have a lot to gain on the kind of trophy value side of this. And he's been there before, and how many times have we heard this rust versus rest argument? I'm tired of it. It's enough of that. Well, we'll see what happens. It affects each team differently. And I'd love to see what Djokovic. I'd love to see this guy who absolutely is a great rebounder, but he also plays tennis. Oh, no, it's a different guy. Right? The bottom line is it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this series. And, it's the hockey's going to be great, too.
So how is that whole market right now? Is it buzzing? Is one ahead of the other when it comes to who's getting front page and all that stuff?
Well, it's interesting. We've had the Heat since '88. Our first games, I remember sitting courtside and being really excited about bringing the team into town. They lost their first 17 games. They didn't get the memo that they got to be competitive. But they caught up over years, 3 championships. The Panthers went to the finals with Van Beesbrook and Scott Mellenby killed a rat with his stick. They called it a rat trick. Now everybody throws those rats on the ice. That's how it started.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, we in South Florida we're dumb. We looked at the store and looked for disgusting animals, and the octopus was already taken and destroyed. So next was rats. So we took the rats and we threw them on the ice. And so the bottom line of all of that is we have a franchise that's won championships, a franchise that's been struggling for identity. If you ask me right now, I'd say it's 2/3, 1/3 Heat. But, we'll see rest of the week. It's going to be a very schizophrenic town because Wednesday, Friday, it's a basketball town. Thursday, Saturday, it's a hockey town.
And that double whammy that you guys have back there, you just talked about in Denver, that economic impact per se, per area. You look at the Super Bowls, you look at some of the NCAAs, that kind of thing. What kind of dollars and cents you talking about as far as Miami's concerned? You get a double whammy there.
What the hell you keep talking Denver for? Look, I'm from Florida. I don't give a Denver. I don't give a damn about ABC. Why are you agitating?
I just said you got Miami. You get the double whammy. You got the hockey. You got the basketball.
I can do it. Really don't listen to you in English. It's been a long. You've earned the right not to be listened to. I guarantee you, it doesn't happen overnight. Double whammy. And the bottom line of all of this, and I mean this seriously, is as a guy who kind of helped put this all together, you take tremendous pride watching second and third generation folks. And you know what it is in Phoenix. Everybody's from somewhere else. Second and third generation folks with Panthers jerseys and Heat shirts, explaining to their kids what it was like in the old days. You don't see that a lot here. So I think South Florida wins economically and culturally, even if both teams get swept. They're not gonna, because who knows what's going to happen. I wouldn't bet on either of these series because you don't know which team is going to show up.
Hey, for the first time in 20 years, the game's going to start before 9 o'clock Eastern. 30 minutes earlier, tonight, which is great. You think that's going to maybe continue on? These 9 o'clock starts are rough for the East Coast, especially you older guys that need to get to bed before. You guys watch the 9 o'clock news, not the 10 o'clock news. Nothing?
He hung up on
Nothing? Nothing? My mentor, Rick Royal?
No, I'm going to let you stew in your own ignorance for a little while.
You know I'm right. I'm right.
I was going to see what Dead Air would do. Now Jimmy V was all nervous because he didn't know we've done that before. That's our gig we've done a long time ago, right? Yeah, old man.
That's Rick freaking Horror,
Rock. Come on, man. You got to respect it. I can't wait for an 8:30 game here. And look, it's always a trade-off, right? Remember when the NFL was tinkering with Monday nights and do you do it at 8:50? Well, that's great for
3 minutes
for the East Coast. So it's kind of a delicate balance. And, Denver's always kind of in the middle. It's the Mountain 2 powers. But I'm kind of glad that the games are starting that early. Major League Baseball games were at 8:07. But the difference with the World Series this year is I think the games are going to be 3 hours. They're not going to be 3.5 or 4 like they were. They're not going to be 2 or 2.5 like the regular season games are. But I can't wait. I know we're talking about basketball and hockey, but How about the game length times in baseball? Isn't that great?
It's been great. Yeah. What are they averaging? 220, 225, somewhere around there. I mean, that's real strong. And I think the players are engaged in it, and I think they're supporting it. There hasn't been much backlash, at least the last couple of months. I think initially because it was so new, but I think it's been a welcome addition to the game.
Yeah, you guys are playing well, and everything looks really good. And frankly,
2 minutes.
It's kind of a fun time to be a sports person right now, especially down here. And again, I think to go back to the kind of topic that dominates this is even if both teams end up 0-2 coming back, the 2-2-1-1-1 finally in the NBA. Remember when it used to be 2-3-2, and I think that stinks. World Series still does it, and because of 2-2-1-1-1, you're 0-2, but you're coming back to a friendly place. And I know the Heat has been, as you said, 6-0 to avoid that 0-2, but I'm not too terribly worried. Although ask me next week if I'd be worried if they're both 0-2. But right now, I'm just soaking it in and listening to your asinine, inane questions.
All right, so since the door's been open, so it's about 4:42 there. But that's right, 4:42.
Yes, sir.
So will you take a power nap before this game?
Yeah. 1 minute.
Or you don't need to do that now. That half hour helps.
I'm going to go to Blue Hair Central. I'm going to order the early bird special at a cafeteria, and I'm going to go sit there. And I'm going to have 5 or 6 helpings before I go and watch it on TV.
So
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take some lima beans and stuff them in my pocket, and then give them to my dog.
There you go. There you go. Rick, we love you, buddy. Thanks for having some fun with us today.
This was the last time I'm ever going to be on with you guys.
Oh, come on, man! No, Rick, it's funny. We're real quick, Rick. I was pulling some sound this morning because we're doing a throwback Thursday later in the show, and interesting. We did these Roc and Manuch's back in 2010, and you were considered our best guest of the year back then. And I have sound, and I was going to play it today. God. I just have time, so next week I'll play it on a throwback Thursday for you. But it was really fun, and it was identical to what just happened. We were just literally ripping each other. It was great. Things haven't changed in 12, 13 years.
That hasn't changed. Promise me you'll double my compensation.
Definitely. And we got a new bank. We'll make sure you get direct deposit it now.
That's great. Wonderful. All right, man.
Thank you, Rick.
Next week.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye. That's Rick Horrow. Follow him on Twitter. He's the sports professor. You can follow him on Twitter at Rick Horrow. Well, it is Twin Peaks Throwback Thursday. We're going to take you back to 1993 when Dan Marley nailed 8 3-pointers in the Suns' Game 5 Western Conference win over the Seattle Sonics. Yes, Seattle Sonics. And we will also tell you how Netflix has begun to crack down on password sharing. So I'll tell you all about it next in our Valley Chevy Random Facts of the Day. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
Gorgeous detail.
Find Valley Twin Peaks on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
Did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
Did you know that Troy Aikman in only 6 years has passed for 16,303 yards? Did you know the career record for most hits is 4,256 by Pete Rose, who was not in the Hall of Fame?
Do you know that
You guys are hot.
Neighbor has 3 rabbits?
Now time for Fox Sports 910's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B to give you the random facts of the day driven by your Valley Chevy dealers. Find new roads at your Chevy dealer. For a dealer near you, head to valleychevy.com.
Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B out here at Twin Peaks at Tempe. And if you haven't been scolded yet from Netflix, you're going to be, because they have started rolling out their crackdown on password sharing. From here on out, anyone using your account better live with you, because they're charging another $7.99 for anyone that lives outside of your home to use your account. Now, premium subscribers can add up to 2 non-household members, while standard plan subscribers can only add 1. So primary account holders will have to set a household location on their devices, although you'll still be able to use your account when you travel. That's a good sign. But
Netflix police out on patrol.
Yeah.
They're out there, man. You know, if that device isn't in sync with your household, forget it. I wonder what the penalty is going to be. They pop you, give you a warning,
like $7.99.
You know, just yeah,
they're just going to charge you. That's all.
Just go right to your account and charge you.
Yeah, they already started in other countries, and the increase has already helped them, like in Canada and things like that, with paid memberships. So that's a good sign. A random fact today: the last season, the league average of salaries in the WNBA was $103,000, and the top salary was $288,000. Excuse me. And the average salary in the NBA is $8.5 million, with Steph Curry being the highest at $48 million, which is 21,000% higher than the top WNBA pay.
Why do you think they all go to Europe to play in the offseason? Make some money. That's it.
Some of them just stay there.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Whether they want to or
Josh
not.
Johnson has played for a record 14 NFL teams, a UFL team, an AAF team, and an XFL team as he returns to Baltimore this year for his 15th season.
Wow, it's amazing he's coming back after his slight foray with the 49ers last year. When Brock Purdy went down, he came in, he got hurt.
Yep.
At that point, Brock comes in, he can barely hand off. Christian McCaffrey
ended up playing quarterback.
Yeah. So therein lies now the third quarterback, if on that roster on that day, can now play.
So what's a number 3 QB going to make then, roughly? Are they just going to
Depends on the level, how much play. I mean,
he's a veteran player, right?
Well, over 4 years, you start making bank?
Yeah, well, here, if you're on the inactive, you get one salary.
Okay.
If they activate you, you get your normal salary.
Okay.
So let's say guys making $1.5 million. So if they activate you that weekend, whatever your pro rata share for game 14 or 15 is, on a 17-game basis, that's it. Otherwise, if you're not, they just pay you the, $3,000 or $5,000 to be on an act. They still get paid pretty well.
Oh, I understand that.
Once you're activated, whatever your pro rata share for that week is for your salary.
So even though he's played 15 seasons for just about every team in the NFL, it's well worth his while to be a number 3 QB.
Yeah, his league minimum 15 years is probably, as a quarterback, $2.5-3 million.
That's well worth it.
And that's why you see a lot of teams won't sign veteran guys that have been released because they don't feel that
3 minutes.
league minimum is worth what they want to bring them on the team.
Okay.
So our random facts of the day are brought to you by the Valley Chevy Dealers. Your Valley Chevy dealer serving the Valley for over 80 years. Find new roads at your Chevy dealer. Head to valleychevy.com. On this day in 93, Dan Marley did this.
Marley for three. Dan Marley, who led the league in 3 points. Marley for three.
Hey, I apologize, down. I put together a couple of the shots from that game, so it's about 30 or so seconds long here.
Thank you for doing that.
West Traders and Frank Johnson. Wow, Marley way outside. That one was too close. And he aimed to Marley. Can he hit another?
Okay, you guys are hot about 5 seconds.
Oh my, Dan Marley.
That's right. He sank 8 3-pointers in their win over Seattle in the Game 5 of the Western Conference.
2
Finals.
minutes.
He finished with 34 points. Then the next year, another guy went off on threes, and that was Reggie Miller, who drilled he drilled 5 3-pointers just in the fourth quarter in their win over the Knickerbockers. He finished with 39 points. He was 6 for 11 in range. And 5 players have since tied Miller's record, 5 3-pointers in one quarter playoff game. And before we get to Jimmy B to tell us that.
Good.
First one in 50 years on this day in 2012. Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Oh, no, all I was going to add was the greatest Reggie Miller memory that I have is when he scored 9 points in 8 seconds against the New York Knicks at the end of the game. And the Knicks were winning that game.
In New York.
And Spike Lee sitting on the sidelines is like falling down on the ground.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Gave him the choke sign after he hit the last 3 that won it.
I think back in that game and listening to Dick Enberg call that was that the Suns had just traded Eddie Johnson to Seattle. And when you had Dan Marley, so you had Eddie over there shooting threes for Seattle, used to play for the Suns. Mm-hmm. And you had Dan over there shooting threes, both of them going back and forth. So a former Sun for Seattle and Marley just absolutely going
30
off.
seconds.
What a great series that was.
Hey, coming up in hour number 2, live from Twin Peaks in Tempe, we'll go to Denver. We'll talk to Vic Lombardi, if you remember Vic, longtime sportscaster here in the Valley for Channel 5. He's now with Altitude Sports, has been for about a dozen years. But we'll get his thoughts on Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And we'll also give you a chance to win a $25 Twin Peaks man card at 2:45. Appreciate you hanging out with us, Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, right here on Fox Sports 910.
Players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the valley to get in.
You guys are hot.
The Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
D-backs going for a four-game sweep of the Rockies right now. They're down 1-0, bottom of the fifth. They're at Chase Field. Last night they took care of business behind Tommy Henry as he had 7 strikeouts in 7 innings, only allowed 2 hits as they went on to shut out the Rockies 6-0. That is one of the big stories today, thanks to the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The other is Monty Williams, formerly of the Phoenix Suns, now is the Detroit Pistons head coach as he signed a big deal, a very big deal, over $72 million 6-year deal, which could exceed $100 million over 8 years, as the current contract is 6 years, $72.5 million, making him the highest paid NBA coach. As you know, fired after the Suns were eliminated in the Western Conference semis 2 straight years. He was the coach of the year last year, 2022. So he's getting paid, deservingly so. And we just now have to wait and see what the Suns do with their open position.
Let me drop this on you. What does Monty Williams do best? He rebuilds.
Culture
is what he does.
Culture change.
There you go.
Rebuild.
And what does Detroit need with all those young players? They need a direction. And so that's why Monty probably is a perfect fit for the Detroit Pistons with all those young players.
And I'm sure basically we talk about it. It's a Godfather offer.
Yes, you can't turn it down.
How do you turn $13.5 million down a year, plus another maybe potential $2 million on top of that?
Right.
And I'm sure for him, it's like, okay, what do they have? What don't they have? If he can go in there and make some changes, and management can get him some bodies in there to maybe push to challenge, several years down the road. He's got 6 years. So if he's there 6, imagine all of a sudden he turns him into a playoff-bound basketball team within 2 years. Hell, they'll extend him another 3 or 4 years. They'll keep him around because of who he is, what he does in that locker room, and just the way he handles things. Now, if they start having success,
right,
and they give him all this talent, and he can't close the deal, he'll be in the same situation he was with the Phoenix Suns. And that's the only knock I think they'll have, much like Doc Rivers. But at least Doc won a championship, got him there another time, lost it. So it's interesting now with that. I'm sitting there thinking the comparable now from when Doc Rivers is signed as a head coach, his value might be like 17, 18 million a year if that becomes any kind of a focal point for him to come to the Suns, if he comes to the Suns.
What about the what if Monty Williams goes and turns his team around instantly?
Wow.
They get to the second round of the playoffs in the East. He turns the team around. The team that Matt Ishbia grew up loving, the team that he actually took some executives from, the team that his best friend or one of his close friends is Isaiah Thomas, the longtime Detroit Piston. How interesting would that be if Matt Ishbia is his team that growing up that he rooted for does better than the Phoenix Suns because of the head coach?
We call that poetic justice. Poetic justice.
For those anti-Suns fans, you would want to root for that.
Yeah, that's totally poetic justice.
I call it great material for sports talk radio.
It is. It really would be. Yeah. I mean, just the optics on that would look horrible.
Yes. And as things linger on from the Suns, from speaking of Matt Ishbia, making a call on who that new head coach is going to be, I think a couple things. Maybe it's negotiations. Maybe it's just sit tight till the right time to make that announcement. Or Jim, you've been singing it in the rafters.
I have been.
Is there somebody else that might be of interest that's on either Miami or Denver that's a assistant coach that he may want to talk to?
If it was Kevin Young, they would have named him.
Oh, I agree with that.
They would have done that. But right now, what I think they're doing is they're on hold because they know they can always go back to Kevin Young if they get turned down by whomever they might have. They might be looking at instead of the other two guys, Frank Vogel and Doc Rivers.
Are you surprised, Jimmy, that nobody's been named the Bucs head coach yet? I mean, thinking about them here that hit the plum job, all that talent, Giannis, like I said, Giannis, Middleton, on and on, and nobody's taking that yet.
I think they're doing the same thing that Matt Ishbia is doing. They're waiting. They're trying to make a determination. All right, we've talked to 5 or 6 guys, but we want to talk to this guy, but we can't talk to him because he's on the team that's in the NBA Finals.
Adrian Griffin is their head coach.
They hired. I thought you said Toronto. I'm sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. I just want to let you guys go. I'm like, there's only 2 job openings.
Yeah,
that's
Toronto. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you said Toronto.
I was like, you guys are doing well. Just let me sit back.
Thank you for Adrian.
I'm like, I was off last day, so I'm Googling. I'm like, did something happen?
No,
it's been like 5 days.
Rock, that's why you are who you are to keep us in line.
I don't know about that.
And Manuch is always misleading me.
Really?
And I took the freaking bait. I took the bait.
But there's another one right there. You think about, okay, you got these assistants that are out there, and if they are, they can bring some of the scenarios with them that Ishbia is looking for. That he's seeing some things that they're doing that he doesn't like what happened here, and to avoid that kind of a situation, then I think that could be something. It could be 4 or 5 different things. Mm-hmm. But it's just interesting. You talk about Kevin Young.
Yep.
That he's not named, or he's the fallback guy.
That could be the case. Yeah, very easily be the case. If they don't hook the fish that they're interested in, they fall back to him.
Some national news: Notre Dame football. Notre Dame, just in general, one of the top programs in all sports in college. They've been a staple in the sport as an independent in college football. Well, they, along with some other schools, have joined the Association of American Universities. They're a group of universities that, quote, they say, transform lives through education, research, and innovation. So it's a new academic standard. And now there's talk that, they could leave the independence route and they could join one of the biggest conferences in all of sport, that being the Big Ten. And the Big Ten is interested in only adding AAU members. And each member of the current Big Ten Conference, aside from Nebraska, is a member of the AAU. So Notre Dame passes that threshold. The Big Ten could consider them as a new member. It's kind of likely they'll go that route. I think they enjoy the status of an independent school in college football, but you never know these days. It all comes down to the money. They would lose money by going to the Big Ten.
There you go.
Because then they would have to share the revenue that they get from their own TV deal with NBC. But that option is on the table, and depending on the new Big Ten commissioner,
well, maybe
there may be a possibility.
It could be motivated that Colorado looking to move to the Big 12, and look at maybe there's other opportunities for other folks going to the Big Ten that they could hear as, hey, we'd rather go make the foray to the Big Ten now before the Big Ten goes and grabs an Oregon or a Washington when they're seeing the precipice of Colorado looking to go to, rumor had, looking to make the move to the Big 12. So they could be getting out in front of anybody else that could be the Big Ten looking to go after so they can quash that.
If you were an AD in the Big Ten, would you want Notre Dame?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. With that being said, would you be willing to give them a higher percentage of the revenue? So say if every team gets $40 million a year.
All right.
What if they got $45 million or they got $50 million? Would you still do that?
I'd still be inclined to take that deal just because of who they are.
Come on.
It's only $5 million more. You could try to make that up in other ways for the other schools. But now, if you're saying that
you're a sellout, you're a sellout as an AD by doing that.
They sell out to everybody. Let's just say this: Texas and Oklahoma got more money in the Big 12 than the other schools because they were Texas and Oklahoma. Now they're going to move to the SEC, and that's going to be a blanket spreadsheet in that conference.
Here's the other two guys.
But it's split evenly in the SEC
yes,
as well.
Is. That is correct.
You got to think about the athletic directors got to think about, hey, look, we got the NIL to deal with now. So Notre Dame doesn't become that cream of the crop anymore when you got other guys getting outbid to go to here, and here because of NIL deals. So all of a sudden Notre Dame, you might be great in the transfer portal, but so where's their clout? Where's their panache? Everybody talks about, oh, we're going to give them more percentage. Wait a second. Nebraska's are deserving of getting a higher percentage.
I don't think Notre Dame is the Notre Dame that we grew up.
They're not.
They don't have that prestige.
That is correct.
So I would, as an AD, you guys both said yes.
Yes.
So
I didn't
now,
say yes. No. I thought it was in every Catholic doctrine that you had to watch Notre Dame football on Saturday.
It was.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No, I said no because of the scenario with them not having the – when's the last time they won a national title? For a long time.
They're no bigger than anybody else anymore.
They're not.
Not anymore.
And especially what happens, guys, the NIL is evening out the playing field for the top 10 to top 15 teams. So they're not going to have any more or any less. So if you've got guys recruiting-wise, you got more NIL money, you got the transfer portal down, that evens out the playing field. So at Notre Dame, no. I mean, if this was back in 1975, it's like, oh, yeah.
Oh,
you
no,
want them in the conference.
I'd say 2000.
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah,
they were still
90s.
big. Yes.
They were big in the 90s.
Yes, they were.
2 minutes.
They got to so many bowl games. They weren't winning bowl games, but they were getting
because that would help the other conference opponents. When Notre Dame comes into your facility, it's gonna bump your attendance, your gate that much more.
The gate doesn't matter as much anymore, Manuch. It's all TV
No, I'm
dollars.
saying back in 2000,
Yeah.
that would have happened. That would have been the enhancement for them monetarily.
Where's Ara Parsegian when you need him?
Speaking of football, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl was announced yesterday at Chase Field. Will be December 26th. Good news here. It won't be an 8 o'clock start. It'll be a 7 o'clock start.
Hallelujah.
Which in the past, it's always been a late start, which is nice that we played at Chase Field. And the Verbo Fiesta Bowl at State Farm Stadium, they will start out the year of 2024 with a 11 a.m. kickoff time on January 1st.
So that's a
Up and at 'em, Rock.
2 o'clock time in the East. Yeah, that's early for you, Rock.
Cut that New Year's Eve party back a little bit there.
It's all based on time.
1 minute. 1 minute.
A 3-hour time difference, but it is such a disservice for our fans.
Yeah.
11 o'clock tip-offs or kickoffs are awful, absolutely awful, and there's nobody can sell me that. We'll have the CEO on tomorrow, Eric Moses, to talk about it, but I know he can't like it. It's just awful because there's so much of what the Fiesta Bowl does is hospitality, going to the game, tailgating, having a good time.
Yep.
I'm sorry, burritos and mimosas is not the same as a kegger and wings and barbecue and everything else. And it just sucks. I mean, I really hate it. As somebody that works pregame parties and stuff like that, it just blows.
All right, I'm with you on this 100%, especially for the Fiesta Bowl. But remember, in the Big 12, the majority of their kickoffs during football season are at 11 a.m. in the Big 12 because of the Central Time Zone.
Yeah,
and it's an hour difference in the East, so the East gets it at noon. Big noon kickoff.
No, I get it. I don't like it.
I know.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
it'll
still be a sellout. I'm still going to encourage people to buy tickets.
Yeah.
But it's just for college football and what we do so well at the bowl is hospitality. Those pregame parties, they're tough to get ready at 8 o'clock for a 8 o'clock is when the pregame party starts. I mean, it's tough.
It's not
to mention you're
It's
coming
not
up
the
New
same.
Year's Eve.
Yeah, and doesn't it typically Rock? You get the Fiesta Bowl. If it's played that early, it goes Fiesta Bowl. Then you pretty much
11 or 2 is what we usually get.
And then
2 o'clock or the 5 o'clock. Is it 2 or 5? I'll take the 2 all day long. 5's not bad, but the 11, and we've had the 11 multiple times, and we've had full houses. It's not going to change. It's just as a fan, someone who wants to enjoy the pregame is because that's where you're with friends and family.
Was it the Ohio State Notre Dame game a few years ago, 11 o'clock? I mean,
could have been
phenomenal matchup.
Right.
That's where Smith, the linebacker for Notre Dame, got hurt, and they drafted him first round. But I remember that I was going, oh my God, that's prime time. Ohio State Notre Dame, early game.
It was.
You think you'd want that game? We couldn't predict it to be them, but that afternoon we're all eyeballs.
You can thank the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
It's all about the Rose Bowl.
They trump everything.
They really do,
Pretty much.
and the parade and everything else. So anyway, Vic Lombardi from Altitude TV will join us in about 15 minutes. Talk about tonight's Nuggets and Heat game. But next, another edition of Quick Draw Manuch. That's next. Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
And the iHeartRadio app.
E-I-E-I-O, kayak galloping all the way, great big star on his chest. Out crawled all of the rest.
You guys are hot.
All right, every Thursday we get an opportunity to do quick draw Manuch, where Jax and Spence take over and lead the segment, as it's something that we've been doing for a few years now, and we've indoctrinated Jimmy. However,
I suck.
We still haven't been able to get him on the scoreboard.
You're in there, Jimmy.
I
think you got one last week.
He did get one right.
I got one right.
I got one.
So, all right.
But how it works is Jackson Spence will ask us a question, and we have to give an answer with the letter that they provide to us to start that answer. So we're in season 2. Season 2.
Rock was kicking our butts so bad we had to go to season 2.
We had to do a reset.
Yep. Yeah, it's like one of those shows, Dance with the Stars. All right, that season's over. Next group of dancers.
That's us.
Here we go.
Well, it sucks is we restarted, right? So
Yeah.
we restarted thinking, Manuch or Jimmy B would catch up, and
Yeah.
Rock is currently up 2-0-0.
Yeah.
So hopefully
He's got better Prevagen than me and Jimmy do.
I don't
That's for
take
sure.
anything like that.
You sure? You're taking Prevagen?
No.
I think once you get to 60.
Exactly. I'm going to be 55 at the end of this month, so I got plenty of time.
I've taken 3 bottles of it just today.
Yeah.
All righty, let's get it started. I'll start off one, and then we'll go back to Spencer. All right, the first question.
All right.
Name something.
Ooh. Explain the rules so when people know.
I think you just did.
No, I didn't.
No?
No.
Very important, because you're not explaining it to the listener.
Okay,
You're explaining it to Jimmy.
Okay.
I need all the help I
Yes.
can get.
So I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to say starts with blank letter.
Okay, I did that part.
Okay.
But how you buzz in?
You say your name.
Okay.
Say your name.
Okay.
Like Jimmy B.
And then if Jimmy B says his name first and Manuch says it after, I will go to Manuch.
Sure. You do sequentially, yeah. Whoever.
Correct.
Does. Okay.
All right. Name something you'd keep in your garage that starts with the letter G.
Manuch. A garden rake.
What?
Garden rake.
No, that would just be a rake.
No, it'd be a rake.
Well, it's a garden rake for the garden.
So you have a garden?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Well, we got our backyard.
Oh, so you don't have a garden.
Say your name.
Garden rake.
Jimmy B.
Jimmy B.
Gas can.
Do you have gas in your
Yeah, because I have a gas grill. I have a keep.
You don't use
gas
propane?
can.
You don't use propane?
Well, that's a gas can.
No, it's
No,
not.
no,
That's
no,
propane.
it's
So you're right.
propane.
Wait a minute. It's still
No,
a
I'm just
gas
saying.
can.
I'm just saying. All right, rock. Golf club.
Oh, I don't keep mine in the garage.
You don't?
No, it's
Keep-
too up in the spare bedroom.
Really? You have that big a house for all those golf clubs?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Jimmy, don't ever keep a full gas can in your garage, by the way, and not a
Or a propane tank.
Never,
What are you
ever,
thinking?
ever.
I didn't say it was full.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give this one to Rock. All right. First one there. All right, Spencer, you're up.
I just want to go over to Jimmy B's house and just see the whole layout of what he's got on in each room over there. All right. How about give me a movie title that begins with the letter N?
Oh man,
Jimmy B. Say your name. National Velvet.
Very good. Oh man, letter N.
Confirmed movie back in 1944.
Rock. It's not going to work. But would natural count?
No, the natural.
Okay, that's why I asked. All right, I'm out. All right, I give it a shot.
All right, give it to me. Hurry up before they come up with something.
Manuch, Nevada. That'd be a name of a movie called Nevada. Remember there a movie called Nevada?
Was there?
No, Nevada Smith was a movie.
Nevada confirmed movie, also 1944.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
Give us something that would have been. What were you guys looking for?
Yeah, what are you looking for, Spence?
The ones I had was Now You See Me. I mean, they're all relatively new, but Now You See Me, Napoleon Dynamite, and then Nacho Libre were some of the ones I thought
I
of.
never would have gotten any of those.
Well, who gets it there then, Spence?
Jimmy was the first to call in, so we'll give it to Jimmy.
Hey, let's go.
I'm on the freaking board.
All right, so it's the NBA Finals start today. So I got to get you guys' knowledge on past NBA players for each team. So we're going to start off with the Nuggets. Name someone who played for the Nuggets whose first or last name starts with the letter B.
Jimmy B.
Jimmy B.
Bobby Jones. Okay, I gotta look up who Bobby
I
Jones.
know he was sixth man for the Sixers.
He was, but I thought he was with the Nuggets before
Did
he
not
got
know
there.
that. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I think before he got there.
I don't think so. But I could be wrong on that one.
Well, I'm just memory. You know how it is. I had 4 bottles of Prevagen. I might be on overload.
Confirmed he played with the Nuggets for 4 years.
Damn, am I good? Damn, am I good?
Oh,
There's a big name. There's a big name. If someone
Oh
gets
yeah,
this,
there
this will
is.
Trump everything.
No, it can't
With a
trump
B.
that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I think there's only 3 Denver Nugget players that are in the Hall, but I can't name them unless one is it. One it could be Alex English.
Yes.
And then is Andre Dantley? Adrian Dantley.
Dantley.
Was he a Denver Nugget for many years?
I'm going to say Manuch.
No.
Manuch.
Bogdanovich.
No.
Did he play there?
No.
See, that's the sad thing about the Denver Nuggets if you think about it. They've been around 47 years.
Dan Issel.
And only 3. Dan Issel would have been the good one.
Yeah.
He'd be one.
I waited till everybody.
man.
Yeah. All right, just give it to me because
Okay. All
I
right.
got that. Like
Jimmy B got it. I was looking for Chauncey Billups.
That's
what I was looking
But
for.
see, everybody
That's
equates him.
good.
That's a good one. Everybody equates him to Detroit.
Yeah.
David Thompson, Carmelo Anthony,
Yep.
and our good buddy, Fat Lever.
So I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Jimmy B currently leads
Wow.
2-1-0.
All right.
All right, Spencer.
All right, this one a little similar to the one that Jack started off with, but we'll have name something in your house that starts with the letter H.
Jimmy B. Heater.
Oh, man.
B's on one today.
I got a few that are stupid, but it's like that's my heater. My heater is outside. That's
too.
okay.
Nope, mine's
I'm
in the
trying-
house.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's actually physically in
In
your
the
house.
house.
It's got its own bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, not a heat. Like
And
it's actually sitting there.
It's in a storage type closet.
Okay,
Yeah, in a different room.
where
in
your
the
air
club.
conditioner is too.
Manuch. Heating lamp.
You have a heat lamp? You got pot going? I know your son works at Spencer.
Yeah, heat lamp. Yeah, heat
Rock.
lamp. House. Yeah, we do.
Hammer.
In the house? Okay.
Yeah.
Where else
All right, Spencer, what are you thinking?
I mean, Jimmy was the first one to come in again.
gotta go
so I feel
Jimmy.
like we gotta give it to Jimmy. We got playoff Jimmy on the show.
All
right.
Jimmy, kick it in.
All right,
Jimmy
take
B,
the pills.
3-1-0. Jimmy B, you can win your first.
What? Are you serious?
For quick draw, Manuch. I believe. Ben, hold on, I gotta look at the records here to see the last time.
4 years.
Jimmy B hasn't won
Ever.
since.
Ever.
No, he won once.
He did?
In week 2.
When?
Was I off that week?
It was before your era.
Okay.
It was before your era.
Second.
Before your era. All right, Jimmy. Here we go. Name player who has played on the Miami, whose first or last starts with the letter D. Manuch.
Dan Marley.
Daly. Rock.
Gordon Dragic.
That's a good one.
Marley was only there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Was there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Jimmy B.
I'm
I'm gonna go Goran on this one. I was actually looking at Goran. He played 7.
Who at first? Dan Marley was.
Yeah, Marley was there for like a minute.
So what? He was there.
Manuch, stop. Your
All
name
time-
is your title of the game.
Whatever.
Give it to Rock.
Okay,
All right.
I'll ever beat you.
All right, Spence, you're up.
Egypt. Where you at, Jax?
Jimmy B.
Freaking rookie over here.
Ethiopia.
Okay, Rock, do you have one?
I do, but I don't know how to say it.
Ethiopia, I should win just because of all the letters in it.
I was going to just jump you all and just take Europe. But I didn't want to do that.
Europe's a continent.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's
What
made
is
up.
it, Spence?
Thank you. I got that
I
one.
think we got to go with Manuch on that one. He
What?
got first.
Oh, my gosh.
Damn right.
All righty.
Egypt over Ethiopia?
So
How
the
many
current-
people would even know where
The
Ethiopia
current
is?
scoreboard is Jimmy B 3, Rock 2, Manuch 1. If Manuch wins, Jimmy B wins it overall. If Rock wins,
2 minutes.
Sudden death.
Okay.
Name a pet peeve of yours that starts with the letter S. Manuch.
Smacking.
What?
People smack.
Oh.
Smacking.
Is that what that's called?
Mhm. Smacking. Mhm. People smack.
Rock. Stealing.
Jimmy B.
Jimmy B.
Slip sliding away.
Thank you, Mr. Simon.
I think we got to go to sudden death. I think stealing was really good by Rock. Sudden death here. Spencer, if you have a question, let me know. I got to look up something off the top of my head.
So smacking doesn't bother you when you somebody's always.
I do not have a question prepared, unfortunately.
Okay, let's name.
Oh, we're putting the pressure on you now.
Yeah. Go to my list.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I gave him like 500
I
choices.
did not get a list.
All right,
So
now
name-
you do. That's how you have that whole.
No, I've made up all these on my own.
But I've sent you like hundreds.
Have no list.
Now
It's on the share
I get
drive.
it.
Have
It's under
no
the
list.
share drive.
Now I get
How do you
it.
think you knew about the content?
That's how he always
That's how
wins.
Rox wins.
Absolutely.
He's gone to the
No,
archives.
no. I have a list of questions where I made up this game, but it doesn't tell you the letter. That's the hard part. Is the letter.
Okay, I'll do it. Name a professional wrestler.
You're playing.
who's either.
You're not.
I
You're
can't
playing.
do that.
Hello.
Okay.
God, you sometimes,
Jimmy.
dude. I wonder how you get through the
Okay,
day.
all right. Name an NFL player whose last name starts with the letter W.
Manuch.
You're not in this, Manuch. It's Jimmy B and Rock.
Say the question again.
Name an NFL player whose last name starts with W.
Rock.
Okay.
Washington.
Which one?
Which one?
Ronald Washington.
Ronald Washington.
Oh, Ron.
Jimmy, if you don't get this one, you don't deserve
Jimmy B, come on.
Ernie Warlick. Buffalo Bills. Ernie Warlick.
And with that, Jimmy B has won his first quick job.
it.
49er.
Yeah. I'm going to protest you guys. This is ridiculous. So, all right, Jimmy, enjoy it while you can.
I
That's the
will.
last time you will ever win Quick Draw Manuch.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see about that. I just thought that I'd try to really hone in, and I took so many of those damn pills, and now I'm drinking a Red Bull, and I'm like jerking all over the place.
He's
I'm just
wired.
wired. What? Rock is like disappointed
Talk
that
about
he
it.
didn't win. You sad, Rock?
Nope. Not at all. I just don't know why I still do this with you two guys.
Hey, how many people would come up with Ernie Warlick?
I don't even know who it is.
Manuch will know.
I know
Of
where
course you do.
at.
That's why you
Buffalo
guys.
Bill.
You know, there needs to be like Fox Sports Radio for like 60 plus, and you just tune into Fox Sports Radio.
No, I try to bring up.
910 HD3.
I try to.
99.9 HD3, and it's just you old farts going back and forth just talking stories.
That wasn't the case. I tried to bring in from the past relevant personnel. And
personnel.
Yes, because Ernie,
Not content.
no personnel.
Personnel.
Because Ernie Warlick was a terrific player for the Buffalo
Break.
Bills in his day.
Wow.
You better break, Rock. Before you
Hey,
get on a roll.
Vic Lombardi will join us next. We'll get a preview from him. He's up there in Denver. He works for Altitude TV as well as 92.5 in Denver. So Vic will join us next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910. locally. Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B out here at Twin Peaks in Tempe. Joining us now, a friend of the program, I would consider. He's spent a long time here in Phoenix and has been in Denver for quite some time. Vic Lombardi joins us from Altitude TV and 92.5 in Denver as he gets ready for tonight's game at Ball Arena. How you doing today, Vic? What's happening? You guys ready? Ready to go? Take care of this?
I was not a friend of the program in late April, early May when we had those 6 games against the Phoenix Suns, but I'm certainly a great friend now.
Yeah, well, it worked out for you guys. So, how is it? What is the pulse of the city? I mean, how big is this for the city right now? I'm hearing $22 million economical impact. Just places going nuts. Tickets are tough to get. Something that this state, or I should say, this town has been yearning for a long time.
Well, I can just tell you my economical impact because every family member wants tickets to games and they're not cheap. So yeah. I pretty much priced myself out of the next 2 or 3 vacations. I'm done. It's ridiculous. I mean, these things, dude, upstairs, upper deck jobs, right, that are normally $30, $20, they are starting at $6.99, and games 5 and 7 are up near $1,000, and it's crazy. It's just getting worse every day.
You know, Vic, interesting. I talked to my daughter this morning. She lives in Aurora, and my son lives in Centennial, and that's all she could talk about. I say, "You guys excited?" She goes, "Oh my gosh, Dad! Finally, after all these years, the Nuggets are going to the finals." And she was talking about all the hard luck that they have, but that's got to kind of be the feeling for all the Denver folks here that the Nuggets of all franchises are finally going to the finals.
Well, we have a hashtag here for a long-suffering Nuggets fan, hashtag NugLife. And it encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses, getting to the Western Finals 4 times as they have, losing to the Lakers 3 of those times. It's having unfortunate injuries at the worst possible time just to foil their chances. It's a team, a franchise that has never been to the NBA Finals until tonight. When that ball tips off, this will be historic in Denver. It's the first time we'll ever see anything like it. City's on fire. In fact, I can vouch for it because I've been bumper to bumper on a ride that usually takes me 20 minutes. I'm going an hour, and fans are getting their introduction and all the fireworks that they have before the game.
Vic, I'm real curious how you think it's going to play tonight, and what do you expect out of me? Because no one in the playoffs has been able to handle Nikola Jokic. I the Heat putting together a game plan that can do it either.
Well, on paper, what you just said sounds right, but the game isn't paper, and this coach, I don't think
3 minutes.
He is one of the better. Maybe zone one time down, double them the next time down, single coverage the next time down. I know Spoelstra is going to throw every trick in the book at him. Trouble is, Joker's already read every book. He's seen it all. I mean, every team's tried different things, and he just continues to make plays. I call him inevitable. You can do whatever you want. He is inevitable.
So who's that other common denominator for the Nuggets if they're going to win all? We watch Murray. Is it Brown coming off the bench and getting his particular, 12 to 15 points per game? Or who's the unsung hero for this Nuggets team if they win it all?
Well, it's been Jamal Murray. The guy averaged 32 a game in the Lakers sweep series, so he's been phenomenal in the postseason.
2 minutes.
I have an inkling. I think that for especially the fourth quarters of these games, you might see Miami put Jimmy Butler, longer, bigger body, on Jamal Murray for a few stretches because there's really no one that's been able to stop him in these playoffs as well. But Jimmy, he can stop anyone. Jimmy's as good as they get. So I have a feeling that Spoelstra will try different things to get in the Nuggets' head. Now, 10 days off, man, that sucks from a momentum perspective. It's great for rest. It's great for any knick-knack injuries. But I hope that the game plan in the first quarter for the Nuggets, I gather, is going to be take the ball to the hole and don't shoot jumpers, don't settle for jumpers. Because a jump shot after 10 days off, that might go away.
I'm real curious to pick your brain on this. Being in Mile High City for as long as you have worked there in the media, do you feel that the national media has really skipped on the coverage of the Nuggets?
Do I feel the national media is skimmed? I feel the national media, with all due respect, are a bunch of morons, to be honest. Lazy morons from what they did with this team and the way they've approached it. I mean, come on. It's unfortunate that Denver isn't on the coast. Denver isn't L.A. Denver isn't Chicago, okay? It's Denver. And they've been passed up by so many media talking heads and, the Nick Wrights of this world and, all these other folks who say they're not compelling. Well, don't tell me what's compelling. That's a subjective business. Don't tell me what's interesting. Dan Patrick says, we're not interesting. Well, what's interesting to you may not be interesting to me. I mean, let me make that judgment. It's not your job to go on national platforms and say, I ignore them, they're not interesting. I just think that's a bunch of bull.
Well, I agree 100% with you because I find them definitely interesting. Vic, it's always great, man.
Thank you, Vic.
Catch up with you.
Enjoy, man. Enjoy the ride.
It is live, my friends, and I know you guys are rooting. You guys got to be rooting for the Nuggets. You always want to lose to the eventual champion.
Absolutely. We all. I think most of us got the Nuggets in 5, so we'll hope that's the case.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Vic. Appreciate it. Vic Lombardi. Follow him on Twitter. He'll be at the game. Vic Lombardi on Twitter, and he's part of Altitude TV and 92.5 in Denver, formerly of Channel 5 here in the market. He's brought to you today by All City Towing. All City Towing is growing. They have a huge fleet now, and they need people. Head to allcitytowing.com. Plenty of jobs are available to you, so just search careers on the website at allcitytowing.com. Well, coming up, we need a contestant. Fifth caller at 602-260-9191 for our Twin Peaks Challenge. We'll compete against one of the young ladies here at the Tempe Twin Peaks for a $25 man card. You'll do some picks. And you'll pick for tonight's game, game 1. You'll also do Panthers and Golden Knights for Saturday, and the Friday night game between the Braves and the D-backs. So those are 3 games that you'll have an opportunity to challenge the young lady here from Twin Peaks. So we'll take the fifth caller at 602-260-9191. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
only.
AccessDay.com now and take advantage of all the iHeartRadio Access Day experiences and deals. Today only. It's a Twin Peaks Thursday. Back to Roc and Manuch with
You guys are hot.
broadcasting live from one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
All right, time for our Twin Peaks picks. Easy to say. As Al from Santan Valley has his picks in. And we have Sinclair here, who's joining us, one of the bartenders and servers here at Twin Peaks in Tempe. How long have you been working here?
I've been working here for just about 2 years.
Okay, you've been here a while.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I started just after we opened.
And where are you from originally?
I'm from Sacramento, California, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Are you a big sports fan at all?
I would say I'm a big sports fan when it comes to the places where I live. So I was a diehard Kings fan.
Okay.
Definitely was kind of bummed when they got booted out.
Yeah.
But it's all right. It's all right.
Things are good, though?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. And you got the outside bar today.
Yeah, I got the outside bar. It's gorgeous
Do you
out.
typically have this bar when you're here? Or you kind of jump around?
They rotate us around, try and give us best of both worlds, you know. I love being out on the patio, especially when the weather's super nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's the drink of choice right now? What is the go-to? Let me preface it by saying I'm a college kid. I'm at Arizona State.
Okay.
And it's, nighttime on a Friday night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and you're celebrating. What is the go-to drink or shot?
Recently we've been having lots of tequila drinkers coming
Really?
in. Yeah, so we've got
Tequila's hot, huh?
Yeah, lots of margs, Mexican candy shots, Jolly Rancher
What's a
shots.
Mexican candy shot?
Mexican candy, so it's actually whiskey and tequila mixed together. So it's gonna be salted watermelon whiskey, and then you do just regular old tequila, a little bit of lime juice, and some watermelon Red Bull.
I think I got a buzz just saying that.
Me too.
Okay.
Tequila and
Good
whiskey.
All right, the way this works, you're playing against Al from Santan Valley. We have 3 games we want you to pick. The first one will be game 1 of the NBA Finals, which is on at 5:30 here at Twin Peaks, all 5 Valley locations, including the new one out at Deer Valley. So Miami is the underdog by 9 points, okay, to the Denver Nuggets. Who would you like to see win this game?
I would say probably Denver Nuggets, just because I've always been told that you should root for the team that beat your team.
Okay.
We just heard that from Vic Lombardi.
Yeah, good point. All right. So, Spence, what's Al going with?
Al's going with the team that he thinks is the hottest, that being the Miami Heat. So he's going with the Heat to pull off a game 1 upset.
Split on that one. Okay.
All right, Sinclair, the second game, another Florida team. The Florida Panthers will be at Las Vegas against the Golden Knights. That is on Saturday night. The Stanley Cup's get going. Who do you like in that game?
I would probably say the Golden Knights. We've definitely been getting a lot of their fans coming in. Definitely great people. They're pretty rowdy. I don't know if you are familiar with the Oakland Raiders and then moving to Vegas. It's the same kind of crowd that comes in for the Vegas.
Look at Sinclair. She's on it, man.
Let me just time out. So we've been doing this a long time. With one of the young ladies from Twin Peaks that does
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
We never get
Okay.
It's normally we'll take Gold Knights. Hey, you're giving us even more and more. So that's good. That's good. It's good. All right. What about what did Sinclair go? Or with Al go?
Al, I'm starting to think you instead of Sandy.
Against the Rockies in the bottom of the 7th. Friday, the Braves are in town. So Braves, Diamondbacks. Who you like?
I'm gonna have to go with the D-backs. We're gonna be an AZ fan over here.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you can help be a homer all you want.
Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Al's also a bit of a homer. He's going with the Diamondbacks.
Okay, good stuff. All right, well, last question for you. Give us a little rundown on happy hour, when it starts and reverse and all that good stuff.
Alrighty, so happy hour is from
2 minutes.
6, and it's $2 off all of our 22-ounce draft beers and well cocktails. Exuberant amount of options for you there. Reverse happy hour.
Exuberant today, Manuch.
Wow.
Reverse happy hour starts
Sacramento
at 10 o'clock.
education.
That's right.
Yes, that's right. Reverse happy hour starts at 10 o'clock and it goes until close. We close at midnight, and it's the same things. For Thursday, the specials are going to be Blue Moon, Coors Light, Naughty Brunette, and then any of our mules. So it's kind of a pick your own adventure there.
Okay.
For the weekend, we do have some specials as well. Saturday, We got Ultra and Modelo, which are specials, and then Sunday Bud Light, and then any of the Four Peaks beers, I believe.
Wow, nice. Well, great job. Seriously.
Thank you.
I think
Thank
Carolyn
you.
would be very happy.
Yeah.
So
Thank
if you're listening, Carolyn, we have Sinclair on us with us every Thursday now moving
Every
forward.
Thursday,
So,
I'll be here.
Yes. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Good
course,
job.
yeah.
So there you have it. Those are the picks for our Peaks picks. We do it every Thursday. So next week, if tune in, same time.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Chance to win a $25 Twin Peaks man card. So coming up in hour number 3 from the Twin Peaks here in Tempe, we'll catch up with Cardinals insider Howard Balzer. Last day of OTAs for a few days, right? They get a little bit of break, and then they'll be back, and then the real stuff gets underway. But we'll talk about the wide receiver position as well. So we'll get into that.
30 seconds.
Who are some of the finalists for the Suns job? As we'll talk a little bit more about that, and Monty Williams going to the Detroit Pistons. That's all coming up as we continue on here from Twin Peaks in Tempe. It's Roc and Manuch and Jimmy, Fox Sports 910.
Welcome back, everybody. Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910, and also 99.5 HD2. Also on the iHeartRadio app, we're hanging out here. Tempe Marketplace at Twin Peaks, and you know what's coming up tonight? Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Can't wait.
Well, it's interesting to see how the Nuggets come out. They've had like forever off.
Seems like it.
The 10, 12 days off, and here come the Miami Heat. You're just coming off the big victory. They went 7 games against the Celtics. Are they going to be tired? They worn down a little bit. Is the altitude going to affect them versus the rest? I think the adrenaline will be pumping for the Heat. Maybe it might wane there toward the end of the game. Just depends on how well the Nuggets are playing. But it may take the Nuggets a little while to kind of knock the rust off a little bit and get back in sync within the first to second quarter, somewhere along that lines.
I have a feeling that this game 1 is going to be a close game. Just because of the layoff in which Denver had to deal with those 9 games. And then Miami probably playing pretty good basketball as far as, being only there in Denver for just a couple of days. So I look for this game to be maybe a 10-point win by Denver.
Or you could say complete blowout, too. The rest versus the tired Heat.
Yeah,
I might need an extra day. And that next day is not till Sunday.
All right.
So they take that Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Kind of get their sea legs there. They'll get adjusted to the altitude, which I don't think you ever get adjusted to the altitude there in Denver, the way that this Denver Nuggets team goes up and down the court.
I agree with
fast
that.
break like a big dog.
Yeah, I agree with that. But, Manuch, take me back. When you were 28.
Oh, gosh, do we have to go back?
Well,
every day, all you guys do is take us back.
I take
Jackson and I talk all the time. Can we just do something in the current present time?
All right. Yeah.
It's all about like what you guys did in the 70s and the 60s.
I
don't think Manuch or Jimmy B could go one show
one segment.
One segment without going to their past.
Because current. No, it was a current question. Let me explain. I'll ask Jackson then instead.
Go ahead.
Because it's the same stinking question. Jax, when you were playing in college and you're 21, 22.
That's a year ago.
Yeah, I know.
That's current.
Yeah, is that current enough for you?
Yeah.
All right. Jax, did you ever get tired? Being in superb, when you were in superb condition, not now, but when you were in superb condition, did you ever get tired?
Yes. I mean, we played at NEU a couple of times in high school, and there's Elevation of Montana.
Yes.
Don't say all you want. Oh, we're going to show up there earlier and get used. No, you're not going to get used to it. Guys like Jimmy Butler are going to have to, get every 2-minute breaks or something like that. But I mean, he's going to play a lot of minutes.
This isn't hockey. They don't play.
They're running back and forth. Jimmy Butler needs to do a lot tonight, and they're going to be huffing and puffing. That's for sure.
Wait a second. What the hell's more important? Talking about playoffs in the National Football League versus Montana and AU. That's what we bring to the show. The education.
My question to you, Manuch, was going to be when you were 28, 29, 30, and you were in supreme condition, did you really ever get just totally exhausted where you couldn't perform after 2 days of rest?
No, you're not. You can really bounce back.
That was my question.
You can bounce back.
It took what, 10 minutes to get that across?
Well, no, you guys interrupted me each time.
The adrenaline kicks in now. How long that adrenaline lasts for the Miami Heat's going to be, it could be good for a half, but the way the Denver Nuggets come at you in waves, and even with their bench play, I think it's going to be the real tall task. Eric Spoelstra and his staff. How these guys looking out there? Are they switching? Do they look tired? Are their jump shots? Are they short? Or as they get longer into the game, are they shooting short because the leg's the first thing to go? And I will contend that I don't care how long you're trying to get acclimated to the altitude, you never get acclimated to unless you're playing there day in and day out, unless you're playing there during a season. And that's one of the things I think that if you're a Denver Bronco or a Denver Nugget, you love seeing teams come in there knowing they're probably going to get gassed depending on the pace of the game, getting up and down the court. And don't you know, Denver's going to probably push that pace initially against this Heat team.
Are you just going to hang out, Rock? You're not going to jump?
Why do I always have to drive?
No, because
Jimmy, take it and run. Go ahead, man. Just take. You're on a roll.
Well, I was on a roll, and then I got rudely interrupted because he didn't even know what question I was going to. And then after I got to my question, he interrupted me again. So then I had to ask it of the rookie, and then I came back to the vet. So that's exactly where I am in this whole process of getting ready for tonight's NBA Finals Game 1.
So the reason why I was kind of taken back is we just pulled our winner of the 72-inch smart TV for Best Deal AZ.
Woo!
And we did it at the top of the hour. And the way that we do it is we get all the texts. If you heard us promote, text Chevy to 59925. We get all those texts. And then what we essentially do is I go online, and it's called a random generator. And I put in 1 to 1,000, whatever number of player or people we had. And then it gives me a number. And whatever that number is, I look on the list because I don't know who the people are. And it gives me the number of who the winner was.
Right.
So that our person that the number happened, it doesn't matter. It's 50. Would make no sense to anybody, but that's the number that came up. So that's the name that came up. So our winner of the 72-inch television is going to be Brian Stymates.
Brian
Stymates, 48080 number, maybe the East Valley, and he is going to get himself the 72-inch smart TV from Bell AZ. Just text him. He's a new contest. So we thank Chevy for stepping up, and now Wright Toyota has stepped up. And now, right now, we are going to be giving away a cornhole set, a customized Roc and Manuch Jimmy B Wright Toyota regulation cornhole set.
Very nice.
So it's going to be doctored up with all those logos. Right. It's going to be really kick-ass. Bags, everything's all up and up from a local company, and pretty excited about it. I think it's a $500 value because it's customized, and we'll give that away. We'll do another Texan win with them starting on Monday.
Very great time of the year too for all the barbecuing and play outside, inside, indoors for the bags we do with our Monday Night Football as part of that promo as well too. So that'll be nice to have your own bag set. Basically,
regulation, which is key.
That's
cornhole. Yes. You can see those cheap ones out there, but they're not regulation. So
if I want to play beanbag toss, which is cornhole, I want to make sure I get the regulation one,
official regulation.
So I really want
professional cornhole league. Jimmy.
There are. I just want to make sure that I have it correct. So when I'm talking about our next spectacular, tremendous contest is regulation cornhole.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you're promoting it, when I'm not around,
you
got to make sure you understand that.
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure.
Because the big cornhole league, the professional cornhole league, they're in town this weekend out at Legacy Park. 500 teams are competing. It's free to go. And it's going to be on ESPN, I believe. It's on ESPN or CBS Sports Network.
One of them.
So it's indoors there in what it's called Fieldhouse C, and it's a big deal out there at Legacy Park. So all weekend long. So if you're looking to, if you're into the cornhole thing and you want to see the professionals, and what I was told, big time, they like to drink. Really? They like to drink.
Well, what else is there to do when you're just tossing a beanbag 20 feet?
Just so you know, just to help you out.
Yeah.
Moving forward, so you can be like in the in thing with the kids these days.
Yeah.
Just call them bags.
Oh.
No one calls them beanbags.
Beanbags anymore.
No one calls them beanbags anymore.
You call it a beanbag chair?
It's called cornhole or bags.
Bags.
Yes.
All
just bags. So you're gonna toss. Hey, we'll go toss some bags. You're not gonna say, let's go toss some beanbags.
Way to keep
a beanbag is what you used to sit in.
I used to have one of those beanbag chairs.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
I know guys.
So those are top stories brought to you by the CAC Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. I got a pet peeve I want to get off my chest. So I get my car washed a lot. And it doesn't matter where I get my car washed, but my car wash gets washed a lot. Okay, I take good care of it. I like to go to the car wash. It's 20 minutes I get just to, just kind of.
You're kind of anal about your car washes, aren't you? I mean, you like to keep that car clean.
But I have a pet peeve when I am at the car wash. It's that guy or that gal. It's usually a guy. Mm-hmm. So you're outside, you're waiting, right? And they're you drop it off. Okay, I'll take vanilla, whatever. You get a set, you go in, right? They drive it in, and I do the unlimited plan.
Sure,
okay, I go enough, right?
Yeah.
But it's that guy that sees that little spot that he calls the attendant over and says, "Hey, you missed the spot. Or then he walks around the car and he's like, oh, you missed it here. And I think people think that if you get your car washed, it's supposed to look brand new. And it just today there was this total a-hole, and I literally wanted to go to him and just say, dude, get in your effing car and go, because you're holding me up, because my car was behind his.
Oh, okay.
So I was up next.
Okay.
So I could have been out there about 5-10 minutes sooner if this a-hole wasn't there basically just telling him to, you know, and then sometimes the guys will grab their own towel.
Right.
And then, you know, if you want to do it yourself, do the self-serve, go to one of those, go in and then do it yourself.
So the guy walked the car and pointing out stuff that they
there
need to
doesn't
clean.
go a time that I go, and I go twice a week.
Yeah.
There doesn't go a time. And I know you people that are listening that go to car wash, you know what I'm talking about. And maybe you are that guy. But the guy that just, hey, you missed the spot. Or can you wait? Come on. It just
thoroughly going in his car.
But I think people think that once the car gets washed, it's supposed to look brand new again.
Sure.
It's not like you just paid $300 to get a wax job on it. So that's a little bit, or a detail.
Detail.
Okay,
yes.
You're paying your $30 or $20, or you're doing your unlimited, which is $30 a month, unlimited, and which is a smoking deal. I don't know how anybody can not do that.
I
deal.
like that deal.
And it just irritates the what out of me. Like today, I was sitting there, I'm like, I got to talk about something here because it's bugging the hell out of me. I don't know why it does, but it's just come on. I'm like, dude. And it just give me a break.
You almost you want to say something, you go, well, I better not say something.
That's Bob. Because you never know. He may reach in his car and grab his little gun and turn around on me.
That's true. And the guy look at me and go, oh, like you're my driver of my car. And he might come back with something, to that effect. But yeah, and they clean my car as long as it's inside. Let's move on.
Here's the only change to that little or whatever I just
tantrum.
Venting.
Rant.
If the guy's got a $5 bill in his hand,
okay,
then I'm all right. But they don't even tip the guy after you ask.
Oh, really?
Like I didn't see any money exchange hands today.
All right.
I'm usually at 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm there a lot. My car's not really that dirty at all, and I got a wrap on it, as you guys know. But the guy, he had like a little. I don't know what it was. It was a small car, like the old Yugo. I mean, it was like, I'm like, dude.
Yugo.
The Yugo was.
And he talks about us going back in time.
But I always said it was like a small car.
Okay,
but it was not, don't get me wrong.
Fiat,
But you guy that has a Suburban, and I used to probably a driver. But then clean it yourself.
There's
no
tip there. The guys, tip them out there. Even though the prices have gone up with the car wash, I still tip them the bucks here. Thank you so much. They're real deep.
It's not. But I guess there's a flip side of that. You're paying for a service and you want it right, but you can't make your car look new just because you took it through a drive-through.
Right,
Don't get it washed.
I'm just glad a lot of them have eliminated the guy that comes and checks for your cracks in your windshield and all that. No more.
What this one place is, I'm not going to knock them because it could be a partner of ours sometime, or maybe they do advertise on iHeartRadio, but there's one that now when you pull up, the guy comes out and he says, what service do you want? Do you want da-da-da-da? Yeah. And you say, okay, I'm going to go with this one, and he gives you your ticket. You now have to drive through the actual wash, and then get out, and then they dry it off and clean it up.
But aren't they vacuuming it with you before they drive?
No, they're doing that. They're doing it
afterwards.
So getting your car moved, where I go, they just make sure I got everything out of there. They vacuum, and then
you get out, and you walk in, you pay.
Go pay.
Now you don't even pay. You pay the guy right there. You give him your credit card, and cashless, and you have to now drive it in. Now the problem with that is the rims, the conveyor belt that grabs your tires and
are
goes
you
through.
telling me your tires are too fat?
Oh no, there's just one place I don't go to anymore because they've cracked my rims multiple times.
Oh, wow. That's not good.
Yeah.
Why doesn't go there anymore?
Yeah.
No, they're huge. It just drives. Sorry, I'm getting my pet peeve on car washes today. Better than talking about poop.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Well, that's they try to upsell you on about 25 different variations.
I'm okay with that. And I sometimes, it depends on my mood. I'll take it.
Give me the deluxe.
You're on commission. I get it.
I get done deluxe. But how about, no, I'm not even saying just the deluxe. After the 5th time, I'm just going to do the deluxe today. I appreciate it and just move on. Just, we're done. The deluxe. That's it. That's all I want. I want the 25, 35 different upsells.
I'm going to order a El Bandito Yankee tequila shot for you. Maybe that'll make you feel.
We got to
a little
get it
better.
in here first.
Yeah. Well,
We got to get it at Twin Peaks.
They've got
So if
a,
they're listening. We got to get it in here.
They got a tequila and whiskey shop. We just found out from Sinclair.
Ooh.
Yeah. What is that called? A Mexican?
It's something, man. It's
watermelon sweet or something.
Oh man.
Anyway, we'll continue. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B from Twin Peaks in Tempe.
Booker on the drive, rising up and takes him to the boom room.
You guys are hot.
Driving on McDaniel, spinning, baseline shot is up, and he gets the bounce. His second basket.
Well, it's disappointing for the Phoenix Suns. They got an early playoff exit. Monty Williams out, but I don't feel bad for him as he is the new head coach for the Detroit Pistons. He signed a 6-year, just over $72 million deal. It could get up to 8 years and $100 million with incentives. And this is, according to multiple reports, the largest for a head coach in NBA history. And he still owed over $20 million over the next 3 years from the Phoenix Suns as he parted ways just earlier this month, as we all know, early May, after 4 seasons, and a Coach of the Year award.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Went to an NBA final.
Talk about a windfall, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
so now we continue to turn our attention to the open job with the Suns. There's also one other job, and that's Toronto. And, we're getting multiple reports, Doc Rivers, Frank Vogel, Kevin Young. There's some hints that the Kenny Atkinson is back in the
mix.
In the mix.
Yep.
But there's also some rumors flying around, Manuch.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. A couple rumors out there as far as what I should say retirement or Bob Myers leaving as a general manager of Golden State. That whether he comes back or not takes a year off, but a couple of things kind of floating around out there is hire Kevin Young on a short-term scenario. Myers, maybe you bring him back next year. Steve Kerr's contract
is up
next year. So maybe there's a potential, maybe you put for Kevin Young, you hire him for a year with an option type of thing. And then you look at Bob Myers. And once Steve Kerr is done with the Golden State Warriors, you'll probably feel like I've done all I can do. Got a few titles. And so maybe you package a Bob Myers and a Steve Kerr and maybe Draymond Green at the end of his contract wants to come and finish up in Phoenix.
How do you sell that to a fan base, which after you traded for Kevin Durant, expect to be at least in the NBA, not maybe the finals round, but at least the Western Conference finals?
3 minutes.
Sell that.
So that this is like next year, Jimmy. This is something for next year.
I'm well aware of that, but if you go with Kevin Young and tell your fan base, all right, here's what we're going to do under that auspices, what you just referenced.
But they're not going to They're not going to.
Well, I know they're not going to say
it.
I know that, but that's exactly if they go with that strategy.
Okay, I'm a Suns fan.
I know you are.
Let me answer that.
Yeah,
Kevin Young for a year. We'll just play along. Kevin Young for a year.
I'll play along.
Okay, and the Suns get to the playoffs. All of a sudden, whether they go to the finals or not, and all of a sudden there's a package deal where Bob Myers,
I get it,
and then Steve Kerr wants to leave, and you bring Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant happened to play with Steve Kerr under Bob Myers, and they won a couple of titles. Hell to the yes.
No,
I make that all day.
I don't want that at all.
I'm not
Go
buying
for it.
it.
You enjoy that, man.
Yeah, I'm not buying that at all.
Steve Kerr, Bob Myers.
I don't care.
I think it's just amazing how Bob Myers is like the best GM of all time ever.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's going to take the year off or may get a job. His name is linked to the Disney job as a CEO there.
Yep.
I think he could have easily stayed in Golden State. The amount of money he's getting paid there. I don't know if the Phoenix job is something he wants. I just don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, it's something that's kind of you put out there. Now with Steve Kerr, my whole feeling is this: if Steve Kerr comes to the end of his contract and he's done all he can do, he's won his title, he might just retire into the sunset and go be a broadcaster. To the point of Bob Myers, okay, if Bob Myers wants to get back in the NBA, well, would Phoenix be that spot? Well, he knows that Kevin Durant is still with this team. He brought in KD to win a couple of titles with Golden State. And, the auspices there. And then Draymond Green, I think he's at the end of his career. So how effective would he be? He'd be that.
Well, now you're changing your whole line.
No, I'm not. I'm
you
just what I'm
tried to say.
No, what I'm saying is you're looking at the other side of it. But if that all came together, I'd say sign it up a year from now. Let's go make it happen.
I'm not buying
because
Don't you think this team needs to win now?
Yes.
Why are we looking into the future? Why do we care about what's going to happen in 2 years?
Yeah. If
this
you go
team
hire,
is built to win now.
If you go hire Doc Rivers, who I think is the guy you go hire, versus the Kevin Young and Vogel and all those other guys, I think to win that now, I go make that choice. Okay,
you want to win this coming season.
So I said I want to win now.
Yes.
So I said my choice is Doc Rivers.
Okay.
To go win now.
Then what?
Then if they had, and then what do you mean? Then
what if he doesn't win?
He can. And then James.
Then you want to go down that road with Bob Myers and Steve Kerr.
No. If you hire
Draymond
Rivers,
Green
no. You hire Rivers. He's here. You sign him to a 5-year contract.
At least.
Yeah, at least a 5-year. I'm just saying if they hired Kevin Young and had that strategy, want to work that strategy down the road, you have Young for a year, and then from that standpoint, you have an option. That's the only way I'd go down that road.
I mean, what do I know? But in regards to Kevin Young, I don't think it's going to happen. What we're seeing from Ishbia, he wants his own people.
Yep.
Why would he keep somebody who's already been here the last 3-4 years? It's time for some new blood.
Everything is new.
I do think that Jimmy and I think are on the same page. We think there's someone else out there we're just not hearing.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting that, and I think with the whole Doc Rivers thing, and now that Monty's getting paid that $13 per year, that Doc, if he's in consideration, and they're talking numbers, that number might have changed today.
It's not worth it.
No,
I mean,
I'm not paying Doc that
and
much.
another thing is that everybody keeps saying Matt Ishbia's got all this money. It doesn't mean there's a reason why he has all this money. He's been a smart businessman. He's not going to overpay somebody.
He wants to win now, guys. To get rid of money.
Well, wait a minute. You just said you were going to wait a year if you went the Kevin Young route.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait
okay with that.
No.
I said not waiting.
No, what I said is that if they get Kevin Young and he can push him, if he doesn't get them there all the way, then you'd go make that move. And
so if Kevin Young gets him to the 3rd round instead of 2nd round, you don't keep him?
And then you're going to fire him?
You're going to fire him? Is it a championship or bust?
Or
if it's Kevin?
If you go get a package deal with those 3 indivials,
what kind of package deal?
I take a hard look at
it. Manuch.
It's fun to kind of pontificate.
It's not realistic.
He's a fan.
Yeah, I'll trade you in. I'll throw in a bag of balls.
Yeah. If you don't win it all next year, and Kevin Young's a guy, all right, next, move in. Go get that guy and that guy.
No.
Let's go get a couple of players.
You're not sniffing glue again, are you?
No, Prevagen's kicking in.
Well, I don't know. I think do you have generic?
No, I got extra.
But you take the generic Prevagen, right?
No. I got the actual.
Says that on the box?
Yes. Yeah, Prevagen extra strength.
I think you get it from Mexico.
I paid 20 more for the extra strength. They just.
Oh man.
In here and take this team to
Well,
the
you're
next
just
level.
saying
You're just talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Yeah.
One was Kevin Young, and then now you want Doc. You
I
pick
said,
one.
I said if they hire Kevin Young, here's the.
So whoever they hire, you're going to be fine with because you're a Suns fan. You're a homer. Whatever it is, you're going to endorse.
I will not be happy if they hire Kevin Young.
You just.
Oh
God!
I said no.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jack, we all heard it all.
I said
we all heard it.
If they hire Kevin Young,
you are moving.
And I want, and that other opportunity pops up, I'll bring in the other.
Here's the deal, Mitch. I knew you were a good athlete growing up. You were a very good baseball player. You could have played in the major leagues, but you were an NFL player, right?
Yeah.
So let's just change the topic. We're going to go to something you do know.
Go ahead.
And that is NFL football. We're going to catch up with Howard Balzer next, all right? Because the NBA, basketball, you're on another island. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from Twin Peaks Tempe.
Got my option.
Lead writer for GoPHNX.com, a longtime Hall of Fame voter.
You guys are hot.
Now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
All right, time to talk a little football. Howard Balzer joins us now. Howard, of course, the conversation's been quite a bit over the last few days. Is the receiver room with Hollywood Brown and Greg Dortch and Rondell Moore and the rookie Michael Wilson. I can go on and on. This is a pretty compelling wide receiver room, isn't it? I mean, this has got all the makings of all-pro status and playoffs and Super Bowl. I mean, your number one's Hollywood Brown, huh?
Well, my biggest disappointment or, concern right now is when you think about some of these guys playing another 5 to 7 years, or who knows, maybe even longer, and then having a 5-year wait for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I might not be a voter anymore.
That's
because
awesome.
I might have aged out. And so, yeah, I mean, it's, I know we're all being facetious here, but the reality is there's some talented guys there. You mentioned those three. Dort certainly showed well last year. Rondell Moore, if he can ever stay healthy. Marquise Brown certainly has the speed and the ability. But you look at those three. You have to look at those three guys and say they're the leaders right now, at least in terms of the top three guys, just by basis by what they did last year, and they're all 5'9" or shorter. I mean, Dortch and Moore are 5'7", and so we're not exactly talking about a lot of height in that receiver room. So I think it'll be important for someone like the draft pick Michael Wilson, who's 6'1" or 6'2", Zach Pascal, who they signed, has been with the Eagles and has been bounced around the league a little bit. He's got some size. Some other free agents that they've signed to add to the roster have some better size, but that's obviously not big targets for whoever the quarterback is. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how those guys do. I mean, I don't foresee much being added to any spot on the roster going into training camp. I mean, there could be some guys here and there, but certainly nothing of significance. So for the most part, the guys that are here now are the ones that are going to have to get it done.
And I think maybe the unfortunate part is having to play. If you have to play a rookie in Michael Wilson, I know he's a 3rd-round pick. He's a rookie, still a rookie. So the dependence on Zach Ertz when he's healthy and Trey McBride, you got to remember that the tight end combination there as well too. All that being said, but you got to remember Wilson's a rookie to get back and be thrown into the fray early on if he has to be.
Oh, you're 100% right about that. And so I don't know that they'll be counting on him for a large role at the beginning, but depending on how they play the offense and in multiple receiver sets, he could be a guy that at least could contribute some, and that'll be what's interesting to see. You raise a good point with mentioning Ertz and McBride. Of course, we don't know when Ertz is going to be available. All anybody asks about and is concerned about is Kyler Murray coming back, excuse me, from the ACL. But Ertz had. You certainly hope that McBride is able to take, a nice jump in year 2 as he really gets comfortable with this new offense. And so he becomes your, if he's the one out there and Ertz isn't quite ready at the beginning of the season, then McBride becomes the bigger option of all the guys in terms of having some guys with size that you can get the ball to in tight quarters and potentially the red zone if they ever reach the red zone.
Very good.
Very good point.
Rondale Moore is good. Rondale Moore, going into his 3rd year, very underachieved, I feel, as a receiver because of injuries for whatever reason.
He's banged up.
So is this one of those make or break years for this young man? He's got to play a full season or close to a full season to actually show his worth with the high pick that he was a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, I think that's 100% right. I mean, as everyone always says, the old cliche, the most important ability is availability. And, last year, of course, with the departure of Christian Kirk, they were counting on Rondale Moore to have a big role in that offense with Kirk gone. And they were planning for that all summer. And then Moore gets injured in practice, in the Thursday practice before the season opener. And then he misses a few games there, comes back, and then it takes a little bit of while for him to get his legs under him, and they were throwing all this little short stuff to him. But then
3 minutes.
He was getting down the field and making some plays, and then he got hurt again. And they're all soft tissue injuries that he suffered, and he had that problem in college. And so that's the big question, the big question with him. And so if he goes through another injury-marred season, then you would think that's going to be a guy that the team has questions about going forward. And Greg Dortch, I mean, what the heck? I mean, he had a couple of small injuries, but he didn't miss time, and he's a grinder and he's a battler, and so he ended up being a nice fill-in guy there, but he doesn't have the pure speed and quickness that Rondale Moore has. So I don't think there's any doubt they need him to be available, and so that this is a key season for him, no question.
Howard, how do you sell this to the fans? Do you tell them we're tanking and we know it so that we'll be better in 2 years? We're going to do the Houston Astro logic here.
Well, you're certainly, no team comes out and says that, and obviously that's not a good look. I think we all have eyes, and we all can see, and we can see what has happened with this team. I mean, there's still a decent foundation of talent when you talk about, James Conner and
2 minutes.
Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker will be there. There doesn't seem to be any real question about that. So there are some good players on this team, but enough to truly compete. But I don't think though that they're looking at it like where everyone says, "Oh man, they just want to tank to get the number 1 pick next year." Well, I don't know that you go ahead and you go about it, and do that, because you're still trying to win football games. But it's hard for me to imagine that this team is going to be good enough to win, much more than they did last year. And last year, the 4 wins landed them, the 3rd pick, 3rd overall choice, in the draft. So I think it's not a question of what you say to the fans. It's a question of what you do. And we can see, what they've done. That's clear. There's all this ridiculousness perpetrated by Pro Football Talk that the Cardinals taking all the cap hit this year.
1 minute.
Hopkins is proof that they're tanking, because now they could have had another, $10.5 million to spend if some veteran comes loose in August. Well, they still have $24 million under the cap, even with the way they handled it with Hopkins, and they're not going to spend that money. And they haven't spent it for the last 2 months. So why anyone would try to make a case that proves they're, if you want to make a case for tanking, like I said, all you have to do is look at the way they're putting this roster together. And so I think, they're signing competitive guys. They're signing guys that they know have good football character, but you also have the issue you don't even know when Kyler Murray is going to be available to play. So it could be a long, bleak season, but I think everyone understands that this is truly being built trying to be built for the future.
Howard, we know we get a lot of your time lately, so we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Well, have a good weekend.
No problem, guys. No problem, guys. Anytime.
Howard Balzer joining us. Make sure you check him out on GoPHNX as well as Twitter, HBalzer721. Well, we got some exciting news to share next as Corbin gets his first walk-off. That's next. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
That's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Corbin Carroll, base hit. Here comes our tag. Diamondbacks sweep all four from Colorado. It went down to the final hitter, and they finally got the big hit. Their first 4-game sweep of the Rockies.
You guys are hot.
2002 season, and they are tied for the National League West lead with the LA Dodgers.
How about that? They were down 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth. And the rookie, soon to be hopefully rookie of the year, Corbin goes a little base hit, got 2 guys on, game over. How about that?
Maybe potential all-star. You never know if he keeps playing as well as
how
he's
about
playing.
that?
That would be nice if he.
The hard part about that is it's so much based on voting, on fan voting.
Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of people going to games, so you're not going to get a huge response. But hopefully that'll change. It is a Throwback Thursday, and prior to Jimmy B improving this program, we've been doing this for about 19 years, Manuch and I, 18, 19 years. And we used to do these bits. And I found a bit where I had an opportunity to interview Alex Rodriguez. This was back in, I believe it was 2009, 2010. So a good 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah, you were on a roll with all those interviews, Rock.
Yeah, tomorrow for Flashback Friday, we may do the interview with Michael Phelps.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
He got caught smoking pot with the bong back during the Super Bowl in 2009. So, but this is A-Rod when he was out in Surprise. He was playing with the Texas Rangers, and I had a sit-down with him. And I haven't heard it in 15 years. I pulled it. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully we
have that button.
We deleted we deleted the part of the other station we were on at the time.
Yeah.
But I think Spencer's got it down. So again, the flashback. Well, it's a Throwback Thursday. So here's an interview we did, Manuch and I, or at least I did, with Alex Rodriguez.
Wow, you've admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs. You've admitted to bringing drugs in from outside the country. Have you committed other crimes?
I'm guilty for a lot of things.
Really? A lot of things? Have you ever impersonated a police officer?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Have you ever impersonated a doctor and performed open-heart surgery?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Come on. Have you ever impersonated a clown at a children's birthday party?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
All right. Have you ever vandalized the back of Derek Jeter's car with a rainbow bumper sticker?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Are you responsible for Steve Guttenberg's acting career coming to an end?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Come on. Were you the second shooter in the grassy knoll?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Did you kidnap the Lindbergh baby?
That's pretty accurate.
3 minutes.
Did you cause the Hindenburg to crash? Oh, the humanity.
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Did your ego cause the Titanic to sink?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Did you help embezzle money with Bernie Madoff?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Were you the person who took the picture of Michael Phelps smoking out of that bong?
That's pretty accurate, yes.
Wow. You are really guilty of a lot of things.
Rock, you nailed it, man. I'm surprised.
I'm pissed because he cut out too much of it. The part with Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
There was so much good stuff on there.
Oh, that was, I mean, you just, with that.
I got to start listening to this stuff before it goes over there because it was a lot longer than that.
Yeah, there's a few things that you left out, but I mean, as far as.
Hey, if you want, just fire off the Michael Phelps now if you got it. Let's just get it right to it.
I was 11 years old.
Since you were 11, get out of here. Come on. Did your mom know you smoke pot?
She always says something to me about that.
Are you kidding me? I would hope so. I mean,
2 minutes.
Fantastic swimmer, an Olympic athlete, but your lungs have got to be trashed.
Really?
Michael, seriously, on a personal note, and a lot of people are going to be listening to this interview. Just curious. I mean, how good is the pot in South Carolina? I mean, down there in the South, I mean, they got a lot. It's Tobacco Road. It's got to be kind bud. So, was it good?
Really?
So, was it really good? I mean, like really good?
Really?
See, the trouble is, Michael, the photo here of you in that bong that's all over the world. It came out on Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, this isn't good for the youth of America. These little swimmers that work so hard look up to you, and now they associate you with smoking freaking pots. Do you get what I'm saying, Michael?
I had no idea what it was until about a year ago.
Michael, seriously, are you high right now? Seriously, are you high? Because you just told me a second ago that you were smoking pot when you were 11.
Really?
I mean, Michael, how do you explain being able to swim to the level that you did in the Olympics by smoking pot?
It's it's
Michael.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Michael, do you have any clue where you are right now? I mean, right now doing this interview here in Phoenix. Do you have any clue? I mean, any clue?
Somewhere.
Very big disappointment, man. Especially when I met you just a couple months ago in Cleveland. Just a very big disappointment. Good luck.
Really?
A little throwback Thursday. So again, apologies to Michael and A-Rod. Again, that was like 12 years
30
ago.
seconds.
You guys have all cleaned up your act, and you're all successful and all that. So
and you're still doing talk radio.
Yeah,
But
we used to do those all the time.
That was fun.
It was all in fun.
I know. Yeah,
we
it was
played
great.
disclaimer. And,
That was great journalistic.
Well, we had producers.
10 seconds.
Yeah, that was good.
Good stuff.
So, yeah, maybe we'll find the Derek Jeter one. That's a good one too. We'll see you tomorrow.